This video is a tough one for me to make, because as someone who considers themselves a fan of a lot of his music, it's tough to admit, but when you take a look at the numbers, Trippie Redd has fallen off over the past few years. Album sales and streaming numbers aren't the end-all sign of a rapper's success in 2024, but they do give us somewhat of a uniformed way to make an apples-to-apples comparison between artists, or a tangible way to compare the highs and lows of an artist's career when it comes to consumption of their music. In general, most rappers and artists constantly have influxes in demand for their music and their overall relevance in the media, so this is nothing new. And it doesn't mean that Trippie Redd couldn't release another album that blows all of his current numbers out of the water. But it's definitely an uphill battle for an artist to regain popularity once it's already started to slip away. I don't think saying that Trippie Redd has fallen off is a hot take at all. In fact, a lot of others share this opinion, and that's most likely due to the first week sales of his most recent projects and the downward trajectory that it shows when compared to his earlier work. Back in 2022, Trippie Redd was sitting in a pretty good position in the industry, and ironically, I think that this was the last year before it became apparent that he was really starting to fall off. The reason I feel it's ironic is because on April 15th of 2022, Trippie Redd recorded and posted this video to his Instagram story.
D-list rappers, nigga, we about to create a Avengers of Trash, nigga, we gonna sell what? If we all put our 30,000 first week together, nigga, we gonna make a bill.
In the video, he's calling out some unnamed C-list rappers for their low album sales and calling them the Avengers of Trash. An important number to remember from this going forward is the 30,000 first week sales that Trippie is clearly mocking in this post. At that time, there was a lot of speculation on what artists he was referring to, but the most popular belief was that he was talking about several rappers who had put out albums the previous week that weren't really making a big impact. The rappers were 5Yo Foreign, Coi Leray, 42 Dugg, and ESTG. People were able to connect the dots because he was referencing a group of rappers that when combined, their album sales totaled over 1 million. Although it's not really important to the story, a few days later, Trippie Redd posted another Instagram story. This time, he was backtracking on what he originally said in the video, and tried to say that he was talking about one specific artist that he's previously had issues with, 6ix9ine. It's a little confusing and contradicts the original video, but maybe he got a lot of pushback for punching down on the newer artists. And on the flip side, most people don't really have a lot of sympathy for 6ix9ine, so that was probably an easy cop-out. But regardless, I want to circle back to that 30,000 for first week sales. Trippie was the one that was using that number to qualify the rappers to belong to the so-called Trash Avengers, a phrase that I've never heard before. For perspective, let's take a quick look at Trippie Redd's first week album sales for his 4 studio albums that were released by this point in 2022. Starting with his first studio album, Life's a Trip, in 2018, he sold 72,000 the first week. Then in 2019, he released an album titled ! that would sell 51,000 the first week. This was followed by Pegasus in 2020 that sold 60,000. Then Trip at Night was released in 2021, selling 81,000 albums during the first week. These numbers are all definitely above 30,000, and when we take the average for these 4 albums, it comes out to about 66,000 units sold their first week, which is more than double 30,000. So now, let's look at the 2 projects that Trippie Redd has since released after he posted the Instagram story. First, we have Mansion Music, that was released in early 2023. This sold 56,000 units during the first week. It's fair to note that this album had some unique circumstances around it, and Trippie Redd said that the album was released early and unfinished. Because of hackers, they had the album and they were threatening to leak it unless he paid $1 million. Not wanting to pay the money and risking the hackers still releasing the album either way, or demanding more money, Trippie Redd decided just to drop the album as it was. As a result, he acknowledged that it sounded unfinished. Then, later in 2023, he released a mixtape titled A Love Letter to You 5, which only sold 37,000 units its first week. When these numbers were announced and people found out that Trippie Redd didn't break out of the 30,000s range, everyone was quick to resurface the video from the previous year. To play devil's advocate and to keep the comparison fair, since A Love Letter to You 5 was technically a mixtape and not an album, I feel like we also need to look at another mixtape for reference. In 2019, Trippie Redd released A Love Letter to You 4, which was the previous installment in this mixtape series. The project did well and sold 104,000 units its first week. So it's fair to say that when it comes to the numbers and first week performances, his album and mixtape sales have certainly declined since that video in 2022. And at that time, he set the standard and was going by the notion that 30,000 units sold first week were bad numbers. With all that being said, I'm not here to jump on the Trippie Redd hate train or to say that he's a bad artist. In fact, I personally believe the opposite. I enjoy a lot of his music, and even though I was dissatisfied with his last two projects, I'm rooting for him and I think he's talented. I'm not glazing him, but I believe that we haven't seen the last of Trippie Redd or his ability to make great music. This entire situation is a great reminder for all of us not to talk down on other people when we're doing well or in a good spot, because nothing is guaranteed and no wave lasts forever. Life is full of seasons and it's constantly changing. So when you find yourself in one of those high points during your life, just remember to stay humble and kind, because it can change at any moment. What are your thoughts on Trippie Redd? I'd love to hear them and to continue this conversation, so let me know in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe for more music related content. You might think that you're already subscribed if this video was on your homepage, but I encourage you to double check, and I appreciate all the support. Don't forget to take your vitamins, say your prayers, and have a great day.